Hey, it's Mark. I wasn't gonna do a video, but I just found some interesting stocks that I think are worth mentioning here in the video and talking about briefly. So I found a lot of supernovas, like a lot of stocks that are up a lot today, actually, even though the markets are pretty red today across the board. And it looks like my uranium thesis isn't working right now, at least in the short term. Like these uranium stocks have pretty much gotten wrecked here. Like a lot of momentum broke today. Like UEC was one of my favorites, and pretty much just all of them are red today, except the ASPI. Still has some potential there, the ASPI, and that one's still holding up a little bit, but it looks like that would be a pretty slim chance that it holds up if the whole sector tanks here. But uh, but yeah, that was just something that I noticed also because pretty much looks like everything was pretty much risk off across the board today. But I did find one interesting stock. I just recognized it as a former runner from the past. Like when I go through my stock scans, having looked at the markets for 20 years. Well, even farther back, I used to look at the markets, but like I know more recently the stocks that tend to run that have run in the past. So if the stock has run in the past, there's a good chance that it's going to have a run when it gets momentum again. Because you see the same stocks pretty much every time almost, in the sectors. So the interesting one I found was that lunar, because I went through my supernova scan. There's actually a lot of stocks up that are up a lot in the past couple weeks even. There's a lot of like pharmaceuticals, bio. I mean, there's just so many of them. Um, Not the ones on my watch list for the most part, but the APLT was a pretty good one that I still had some shares in that one, like in my one of my accounts. But yeah, there's some interesting charts out there. Like the more I go through these, the more I'm finding some interesting things here. But the main one I want to talk about was the STXS because I did a post on the lunar, and this one I never heard of this one. Like I saw the company in my scans here, and they make rockets that go to the moon, and they're doing that themselves apparently, and they sell like spacecraft and spaceships and stuff like that. So the a lot of times if you see a company like it sounds too good to be true, it probably is, but this one it's an American company and I think they're out of Texas, but the fundamentals looked okay on it. I mean, it looked the fact that it's an American company and it's not Chinese or something where there's just a lot of fraudulent stuff out there in other countries. The possibility this one's a really good, like a good one is better. Like their balance sheet wasn't that great on the short term here. It looks like I thought it was like a SPAC or something because it like in one of in my scans it showed up as like an acquisition company. So maybe it did start out as a SPAC. I don't know, but looks like the stock spiked a lot like in February last year, and then it hasn't done much, but it came back again. So that's interesting. The fact that it spiked that much, if this is even accurate, because it's saying in February it went from like $10 to like $100, which I think I might have remembered that one if it did, but it's just something I'm watching here because it actually looked like a supernova, like because it went from like $2 to $10, $12. So it looks like at some point that's gonna gonna break down. I mean, unless it just continues because it has incredible momentum here, so it may as well just continue breaking out. So it looked like their spacecraft rocket were supposed to land on the moon Thursday apparently. Um, and it's the first moon landing. Like I put on my my Twitter account. The company projected that its spacecraft will land on the moon on Thursday. If successful, this would be the first U.S. spacecraft to reach the moon's surface since 1972, and that's per Bloomberg. So apparently the reporters are actually reporting on it, and if it's not just AI articles, but um, that's pretty interesting stuff. And apparently they have revenue too, which is even more interesting, and they put up a profit apparently. So the thing is, when they're United States companies, there's like in the public, there's like the SEC and there's like FINRA, so they have to go through they're kind of vetted, and like if they put out financial statements, they're especially they trade on like on the big board, like, and it's like, I think it's on the NYSE maybe, or probably the Nasdaq. Like they're mostly pretty legitimate. Yeah, Nasdaq. So there can be some sketchy stuff on Nasdaq, but and it's not like it's the pink sheet or OTC listing, So, but it's pretty interesting. Like there's even an analyst on it. There's an analyst on the lunar. I'm looking at this LUNR here, and they, according to Yahoo here, they're expected to grow revenue like significantly. It's pretty interesting. Like I don't know how exactly their business model works because I'm not exactly sure who their customers are because they're selling like spacecraft. I don't know, but maybe it's like I think it's like an aerospace and defense kind of. So maybe it's kind of like a Boeing thing, or they just sell to the government, military. I don't know, but it's pretty interesting. And the other one I just found a second ago was this STXS, which prompted me to do this video because I know this one from the past, and it's a big runner, like especially when the market's running. STXS can run huge. Like I haven't looked at the chart yet because I just remembered it off the top of my head. But yeah, like in 2020, 21, it had a good run. But even more so was back in. I remember it back from like I think it was like 2012, like 2010 to 2013. It was a big risk on, runner when the markets were going up in those years. And but yeah, I'm like my little research here just corroborated my hunch on it, and it went from like $1 to $5 in 2018, 2019, and it's done it in the past too, but the chart doesn't go back that far, I don't think, but you can see it does pop a lot. It has good runs. So, but the thing I noticed was it's kind of one of those where it just keeps going and going and going, like some of the ones I've talked about in these videos where they just keep going and going. So it broke over a major level there. It was a big resistance level here, like at about 250, at 250, 260s, that area, and it broke over that earlier, but it looks like it retested, or it kind of retested there, did like a high flag, and then we're just breaking out again. So it's in a breakout, and it's got good momentum. Like you see that it keeps getting bid up on these on trend support. So that's the trend support right there. So it looks pretty good. Like if we get more breakout, it's a good long, like over. I'd say if it hits like 310, again. And that was an interesting one that I found because I wasn't expecting to see that one in a scan, like especially on a day like today, where a lot of things were red. But because when the market's red like this, I took the opportunity to look for the strong stuff because it's going to be really obvious, when I do the scans. So that was kind of an interesting thing that I found. Like when the market's really red, it's like a really bad day. it's interesting to look and see what's green, and vice versa. You know, if the market's up, you know, when something's red, you know, like the other week or the other day, yeah, it was. That's when I realized, yeah, just like a few days ago when the market was pretty strong, you know, when we're in that uptrend, I was looking at these weak stocks like Rig and Peloton, and I thought Peloton was gonna maybe have more of a flag, but it just broke that flag pretty quickly there. So yeah, that one was kind of weak too. You know, when the market was going up, well, it was pretty weak. You know, I mean, it hasn't been done much for like a couple months now, and then Nvidia just broke its uptrend. So you see it trades in these uptrends. You know, these uptrend levels where it comes down to that red line, comes back up. That's like the support, and it broke through that today. So looks like it's gonna have there's a lot of weight on earnings now, and their forecast. Probably more forecast. Like I think they're gonna market's gonna want to see them be really optimistic on or really some bullish numbers coming out for the next couple of quarters, to see if you know they can hold up, like because it has had a pretty good run. You know, I think a pullback would be fine in tech. Like I think, you know, I keep rooting for that. You know, just things to slow down a little bit and kind of like, you know, not so much a frenzy to buy, because that's when you get like a frenzy and things are just everybody's trying to buy everything, you know, with in like a panic buying, you know, that's when you get potential blow off tops. You know, they don't come back for a while. So if it goes slow and steady, that's fine. And even the BYND was up. It's interesting. It's still a potential squeeze because that one's always heavily shorted. But looks like I did okay because I didn't go crazy with call options. I just had the RGTI calls, and I've got some shares now because I forgot to convert some contracts or sell some contracts. So my Peloton puts are doing good. Of course, my uranium's not doing good today, and then my Neo puts aren't doing so good either. But I still have some hope on that one because it's not really decisively moving up here. And I was looking at I was looking at the sector. The EV sector looks pretty weak still. Like there's a lot of red today with the market. The interesting one was this is another good setup here too, and I mean we saw that coming. Like that's a great triangle right there, descending triangle. And these can be great short setups, but it just cracked that triangle in the levels today really strong. Like these lithium stocks just continue to be weak, and I guess there's some uncertainty now about how much the EV cars are going to take as far as market share goes. And I think Toyota was pretty committed to having, you know, hybrids versus EV. So it's kind of what they're selling is what we're going to buy. So if these big companies stop, you know, if they stop focusing on the EVs, then, you know, we're gonna get hybrids, you know. So yeah, a lot of these stocks got wrecked today too. I think the Lee or no, I thought Lee had earnings, but that was another one. Tesla, yeah, who knows what's going on there? It's kind of just range bound. And Meta. Well, yeah, look at Meta held up pretty well today, even with Nvidia down. It's still in this channel here, so it's not really bullish or bearish. It's just kind of stuck there. And kind of like XLE, which I tweeted about, the XLE hit a major level there and failed. So XLE's in this channel too. So that kind of makes me really good happy about the rig short, because rig's probably gonna trade with this, but it's been weaker than XLE and oil. So, but if XLE comes down too, it seems pretty hard for rig to come back with that happening too. There's probably some really good setups in the energy stocks too. But there's just a lot of stuff to look at. And I started tracking more sectors here recently. So let's pull up energy. But I've probably covered enough. So I'll finish with energy here and then keep the video kind of short, because it seems easy to talk. It's easy to talk because I can talk about this stuff for like an hour, and those videos are just too long. I get bored watching like a 30-minute video sometimes even. But yeah, it looks like, yeah, I was more bullish on NGL, but it's kind of holding up there still. Looks like JKS is gonna have another test on that level. That could be a bear flag too again. I thought that was it, where it was just gonna break down, but it came back up, and it's set up as another bear flag. Like, I'm not gonna trade that though, but that is a setup, because it's failed at that level again. And yeah, these are just per week with not a lot of great setups here really. These are just some of my go-to trades for oil if oil's trending or there's a setup. But yeah, it's kind of range bound. I mean, oil is so range bound. Like, I'm not trading oil now, except like the rig short. So yeah, that's it pretty much. That's about it. Semis are weak. Like, I really suspect that Nvidia is gonna set the tone for all of tech for the next like quarter, maybe even. So, because the companies are, they're betting heavily on AI and that kind of thing. But yeah, I forgot to mention about the STXS. It's not only does it trade well, it's a good momentum stock, but it's actually a robotics company. It's like a medical robotics. So they sell robotic systems, instruments, information systems for the Interventional Laboratory International. It's robotic magnetic navigation, it's Genesis, NEOB, which enable physicians to complete complex procedures by providing image-guided delivery of catheters and guide wires through the blood vessels and chambers of the heart. They've got another thing that manages, controls, records, and share procedures across networks, imaging model, X-ray system. It's like a lot of catheter stuff. So that's good. I mean, medtech has been pretty good lately, and healthcare, of course. So I guess it has something to do probably with, it finally got rotated into, because it's a smaller market cap. A lot of times you see the big companies get bought up first in a rotation, and then the smaller companies, because they go to the big ones first because of liquidity, and then smaller ones are later. So yeah, it's got like a $240 million market cap roughly. So, but that's interesting. It seems like the robotic stuff's getting maybe a little better. like the AI stuff in the past year or two. So, and looks like they grow pretty steadily but slow for the STXS, and yeah, that's about it on that one too. But I just thought it was neat how it broke through that base level there. So yeah, that's it. So yeah, I'm just gonna be watching Nvidia. I'll probably listen to the conference call tomorrow when I can, and we'll see what happens then and see what the market reaction is. Because I think that's where the alpha is. You know, if there's going to be alpha in tech, it's in AI, and a lot of companies are scrambling to get chips, or like a lot of investors are you know they want to do like ventures themselves to build build chip factories. You know, that's how big the demand is now. You know, there's huge demand, and then the OpenAI CEO says he wants to spend like you know possibly trillions uh, on chips. You know, so and he's partnered with Microsoft, so you know there's obviously demand there. So, but we'll see what the Nvidia says. So yeah, that's it, and I'll catch you later.